Hey, everybody. Oh, hello, everyone. Sorry, I was having trouble getting the Hangout to work. So, um, surprise stream. It's Win. Hi, everybody. It's Win. I'll turn this around for my lovely product placement. So, I'm doing an experiment on the channel right now. You guys are a part of it. Hello. And so basically, my idea is that we don't have time lately to film like fun get to know you videos. Daniel's working on his anime season wrap up right now, but he's a couple weeks behind on Darling in the Franxx, and he wants to make sure to get that watched before he puts out his seasonal review. So that might actually come out next week. But yeah, so we're struggling to get our regular videos every week, and so fun videos have almost no time at all to be made. So I thought that maybe every now and again we could do like an impromptu live stream, and I could just say hi and let you guys all know what's going on, and we could just have a tea and chat together. It won't be me every time, of course. It'll be, I'm sure the others will want to get on this too. But it's just, an idea that I had, and I thought we'd wing it. So to get started, I wanted to let you guys know a couple things about the system that have happened recently, just give you all a little bit of an update. And if you're on Tumblr, if you follow us on Tumblr, you get a lot of this real time. I will generally talk about this stuff like the day after it happens usually, but a lot of you guys don't have Tumblr, and I don't want you guys to feel left out. So we are 12 now. I don't know how long we'll be 12 or when our 12th will be more active, but a month-ish ago, I went into the I'm brain farting really hard right now. I'm so sorry. So a month ago, I went into the kitchen to cook some dinner, and then all of a sudden dinner was done cooking. And I was just like, oh, I went to my husband. I was like, how long was I gone? He goes, well, I don't know that for sure, but you have a new psychologist. I was like, excuse me? So basically, my new alter is named Dr. Jessica Mann. And I'll let you know what I know about her so far. So I know she doesn't realize she's part of a system. Okay. She seems to have no connection to me or understand that she's in my body or she's in my head. She thinks she is a completely separate being. Then she's a doctor in two ways. She's a doctor of psychology and of physics for some reason. She's blonde. She has a southern accent. She doesn't believe in God, but she hates swearing. And she seems, very intent on learning about my past. So what she did after she talked to Andrew is the next day, she hijacked the body and drove all the way to my hometown and sat my mom down for an interview about my life. She bought a new notepad and a fancy new pen and took notes and recorded the whole session and then left. And on her drive back to my place, she calls my dad and sets him an appointment for the next day. And I was like, oh my God. So the next day I was like, okay, I can't meet up with my dad. She's going to come out again. But I was like, you know what? She's obviously doing this for a reason. Like, my brain wouldn't need this to be done if she wouldn't have been made if there wasn't a reason for this to happen. So my dad was a good sport about it, and he was like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to her. And so he came over, and she came out, and she chatted with him, and then she hasn't come back out since. Like, I still feel her in the background. Like, I know for sure she's still there. She just hasn't fronted since that happened. Yeah, and she doesn't live on the island. No one inside the headspace can access her or anything like that. Daniel says he saw her be born. And the way he described it, it was like, it sounded really scary. Like, the sky got kind of dark, and like the earth started to split open, and like steam spit out, and she kind of like floated out into the sky and disappeared. And so that's Dr. Jessica Mann, and she is my 12th part. Yeah, so there's that. Also, Todd, I've finally gotten in good amount of touch with Todd, which is very exciting for me because I didn't know, he came out the same time as Kim. He came kind of surfaced, but I didn't know anything about him. I couldn't see him. I couldn't talk to him for the longest time. He wouldn't talk to anybody inside. He'd only sit with Daniel. And so the past few days, we've actually been talking a bit back and forth, and he's been journaling. He's written a letter to Andrew, written a couple messages to Andrew. So Todd's not necessarily new, but what I know about Todd is new. So I'll share that with you guys. So Todd is 9. He came into the body when I was 9, so 2009, lots of 9s. He can talk. He just doesn't like to talk. He's afraid to talk, and because he's stuck sort of inside a trauma memory, and he's having a lot of trouble discerning what's the memory and what's actually happening. So, under the advice of my therapist, I have a lot of these little stone chip bracelets, but this one specifically is his. And so I said, whenever he gets scared, I'll have this around my arm. And we didn't have bracelets like this when I was 9. So he can hold this, and this is his modern day bracelet. This is his today bracelet. So that's actually helped him a lot, being able to hold that and be like, okay, I'm safe. And it actually got to the point where yesterday he felt brave enough to speak for the very first time. So he got on the Fish Tank Discord that one of our Tumblr followers so kindly created for just like fans of this channel to go and talk and hang out and stuff. And we come on there, occasionally and say hi. Yeah, and then he sent Andrew a little message just being like, hi, I wanted you to be the first person I ever said hello to. I was just like, oh my God, that's so cute. So that's Todd. He's got like bright blue eyes and like brown, short, curly hair. Well, I guess like longish for a guy. Like it's, I don't know, that long, I guess. Yeah, so that's Todd. And then there's the third update, which isn't necessarily system specific, but every community has a name. Like there's, communities have names. And so I was thinking, and I was brainstorming with friends. I was like, you know what? My community needs a name. What are we going to do? So I wanted this to be like something to do with entropy. So I was trying to find like a fun sciencey name to call the community, and I couldn't think of anything. And entropy is all about disorder, about randomization. So one of my friends goes, what about calling everyone disorderlings? I was like, that feels a little bit too on the nose. And then one of my other friends, Brenda, a coworker of mine, she was like, well, entropy kind of sounds like entropic, like the tropics, and you're on an island. So what if it was like entropical flower or entropical fish? I was like, entropical fish sounds adorable. So that's our new community name, guys. You are all entropical fish. And we're having a contest, which if you are on Twitter or Tumblr, you already know about this. But I thought it would be more fun. Me and my friends came up with a silly name, But crap, I keep losing my train. Like, I keep trying to like read what you guys are saying on the side of the screen, and then like I completely lose my train of thought. I'm so sorry. But anyway, okay, contest. Yes. We thought it'd be more fun if you guys came up with like a little logo design for the group, and so for the community. And so we're having a contest. You can submit 5 works per person by July 31st. You just send it to our Tumblr or our Twitter, and we'll vote on it at the end and everything. And the winner, of course, gets the cool knowledge of knowing that their image will be on every single one of our videos from now on. And also, if we ever do merch, which is an idea, we don't know when they're going to make that happen, or if we can actually make that happen, but there are some ideas we've kicked around. But if we ever do that, the winner will receive 1 item of merch for free with their logo on it. So that's fun and exciting. I see so many fish icons coming up through the thing. I love it. So that is sort of my where I'm at right now, my updates and stuff. Yeah. So that's all the stuff that I had planned to say. So I guess I'll open up to questions at this point, or I guess topics. Let's do topics. If if there's something you want to hear me ramble about, what would you guys like to hear me ramble about? Oh, I'm sorry. I see. Question: do you mean 5 pieces per system or 5 pieces per altar? We're going to 5 pieces per system. So 5 pieces per physical body. First question I see, hey, do you have any tips for a starter DID system on YouTube? Yes. So I can ramble about that. This can be a YouTube tip ramble. So when I started YouTube, I was like, I wanted to do so one thing to keep in mind if you're going to start doing anything on YouTube is that you are creating a product. Every video you make, everything you do is a product, and you need to be able to sell your product effectively if you want to gain followers. It doesn't matter, like with this is a passion project, this is my desire to educate, but people aren't going to just come to be educated. You have to give them a reason to want to come. You want to make your system you want to make your channel attractive and reliable, because that's what people like on YouTube is they like a friendly face, and they like reliability. Not that there are unreliable channels, like there are channels that you never know when they're going to update, but they still do really, really well. So there's not like one thing wins all, but what I did in the beginning, so I sat down and I recorded months worth of content, 2 months worth of content. So I decided that it would be best for me to keep up with my schedule if I posted once a week. So I chose to start the week off Monday. And I recorded 8 videos, and I sent them to friends and stuff so they could like preview them and tell me if there needed to be anything to change. And what I started filming was this camera that I'm talking to you on right now. This is my FaceTime camera on my Mac. And it was nothing fancier than that. I recorded using iMovie, which is a free piece of software that you get with a Mac purchase, or even now the mobile devices have iMovie on them. And my lighting was this window. So I started out with nothing. And I did upgrade my camera. Let me see what. Now I use my phone. I ended up getting a new phone because it was time for me to upgrade, and suddenly my phone skills camera surpassed my computer camera. So now that's what I use. My dad got me a ring light set that I hold the camera in, and I record with that in one little single ring light to kind of balance the shadows on my face that come in from, and then the lighting from the window. So you don't need fancy stuff. You know, you don't need a high quality camera. You don't need a special microphone. You don't need like professional level editing stuff. You know, you just need a plan. You know, and when you're making individual videos, when you start the video, let the audience know what they're going to see. Today I'm going to talk about, or, you know, we're going here today, or, you know, let them know right from the beginning, like you would with a good essay, a summary of everything that is to come. And also let the audience know why they should care. Because I know that sounds really insensitive, but you know, you are one content creator in an ocean of content creators. So why should somebody watch your video above anybody else's videos? You know, if you have a channel and you're a DID YouTuber, you kind of get a little help because that's a little bit of a niche market. It's growing, but you know, there are still so few DID content creators that you kind of got to step ahead there. But you know, you'll want to be like, you know, I can offer you this specific type of humor, or you know, this skill that other people can't do as well as me. You know, whatever you're doing with your channel, market it like you would if you know, knit socks and you were wanting to sell socks, and these are the best socks and the warmest socks, and you're gonna love them. And you know, you don't hide the packaging. Let them know right up front. Have them out in the open. This is what you'll get if you buy these socks. Enjoy the socks. I don't know if that makes a very good comparison, but you know, YouTube videos are products, and we are selling these products, you know, not necessarily for money, but for views, for the purpose of education. And so that is what I would, to summarize all of that, if you're starting a YouTube channel, don't worry about the tools, worry about what you're making, why you're making it, and how you're going to sell it. All right. Someone says, you're 18 and married. Whoa, surprised me. I am 27. I am not 18. Thanks for thinking that, I guess, though. Yay. I have a couple questions I'm seeing here about the logo. It can either be for the submission, for the contest bit, you can either have it, you know, hand drawn, traditionally drawn, or you can do it digital. If your work is not digital and you win, we will need to figure out a way to convert it to digital. But we can cross that bridge when we get there. How do you deal with self-doubt? Okay, self-doubt sucks. I've never met a system who doesn't go through the am I faking thing. Because, and there are a couple reasons that I think this is why this happens. So I know for me specifically, and I feel like this is an experience that's shared by a lot of abuse survivors, is I was told a lot growing up that I had a really active imagination. And oftentimes it was in response to me seeking help. Oh, I'm in danger. Oh, I'm this, you know, oh, you're exaggerating. You have an active imagination. Oh, there goes Win again, you know? And so when I first started getting in touch with my system, I experienced that inner monologue in my head a lot. Oh, this isn't real. I just have an active imagination. This is all, maybe I'm just making all this up. Maybe I'm just fooling myself. And I keep coming back to that place. You know, the trauma memories, they'll be shown to me. I'm like, there's no way that happened. Where would that even fit in my timeline? I don't remember anything like that, And, I'll be like, maybe this is just my active imagination. I need to think of something big and dramatic that I must have survived. And of course, that's really invalidating for my headmates who hold those memories and are telling me to them, needing me to believe them. And so I've worked with that with my therapist also, but it's almost inescapable because we have been taught to doubt ourselves. As abuse survivors at large, I feel, are victims of gaslighting, and their brains are warped to think that they don't have a proper grasp of their own reality. That's how abusers keep people quiet, keep their victims quiet. And so when you're trained to not trust yourself, and then on top of that, this whole thing is so bizarre. Like, I have 11 other people living in my head. Excuse me, what? And I spent 26 years not having any idea that they existed, and all of a sudden I know that they exist now, and they're way more dynamic. Like, my husband is, he's good friends with my alters now. But before this happened, he was like, you don't have personalities. Like, where did this come from? And the more we go on, the more we can be like, okay, yeah, no, that was definitely Kit. Like, when we'd be in a social situation, suddenly I'd be really, really hyper, and high energy and vocal like she is. And Andrew would be like, hey, when you get around people, you get to a whole new energy level. Like, what is that? And I'm just like, I don't know. It just happens, and he brought that up more than once. I had never really noticed it before. But he's like, you become a totally different person, so now that we know, we can go back and pinpoint. But they were good enough at disguising themselves that he didn't realize that that's what it was. He just thought I was a little erratic. I don't know. So yeah, self-doubt and the idea that you're faking is something that's really common in systems. So if you're sitting there being like, oh my God, I'm so invalid, I'm making this up, I'm lying to myself, I'm lying to everybody, take a minute and ask yourself where those questions are coming from. Where those statements of doubt are coming from. Because now that I know that it's part of that internal monologue that was hammered into my head as a kid, I'm able to kind of step back and be like, no, why on earth would I fake this? Why like, why would I pretend to have a disorder? Why would I pretend to have someone else take over during times where I really want to be spending time with my husband or my friends? Why would I pretend to have this thing that makes some of my coworkers really uncomfortable to be around me? Like, why on earth would I do that to myself? I'm not, because it's not pretend. Even though I doubt myself and I doubt this super bizarre reality, it's real. It's absolutely real. And so you're not alone if you're experiencing that. And not just with DID, but with any mental illness, oh, I'm not having an anxiety attack, I'm just acting out, I don't have depression, I'm just lazy, I'm just making this up, I'm just blowing it out of proportion. Like, be easy on yourself, okay? It's hard having a mental illness. It's hard. Or an invisible illness. You've anything where you can't point to something and say, ow, it's hard to have it, and it's hard not to lose faith in yourself. But, hang in there, because you're not alone. You're not the only one who's feeling this way. And you have no reason to make these things up and lie to yourself, especially. So, yeah. Oh. My House asks, any tips on how to bring up DID to a doctor to get diagnosed? Yes, I would. In Monday's video, Jonathan posted tests that you can take through a clinician to get diagnosed, or get, it's a diagnostic screening tool. So you could go to a professional and say, hey, I feel like I have this. I would like to be tested for dissociative disorders. Here's a test that I've heard about. What do you think? And kind of hand that over to them. Okay, one more second. I got one less drink of my thing here. Cheers, guys. Another logo question. Does the logo have to have an tropical fish on it? No, I mean, use your creativity. Throw whatever out there. I'd like to see all the ideas. The only rule is 5 per person, 5 per physical body. I see that some people need to go. Thanks for tuning in and being a part of this fun little experiment here. How do you go about telling friends specifically? So I don't think there's one universal way to tell people how you have DID. I guess I'll kind of go through the list. So I had a couple friends who were with me in the process of me finding out that I had DID. And so they went on quite the ride, but I didn't have to really tell them. I just kind of kept them updated on the weirdness that was happening every day. And we kind of got to the end and they were like, okay, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Then my friend Sarah, who goes on the geology trips with me, she overheard me talking about it because I went to tell my professor, because I kind of felt, this was in the very beginning, and I felt the stirrings of someone coming up. And so I went to her. I was like, hey, just so you know, I have these people that live in my head. One of them comes out and I start acting weird, just, kind of treat me as normal. If I start be acting like a little kid, just kind of quietly usher me back to the van. It's not a big deal. And then later, me actually did come out. But rather than go to the professor because she's scared of authority figures, she went straight to Sarah. And, Sarah kind of quickly caught on that this was a child in my body. And she was just like, I guess let's go. We were at the bottom of a cliff at this point, so we had to hike all the way back up the cliff, and she helped me go up there. She was really great, but she kind of got thrust into it. She didn't have a choice to accept it or not. And then there was Julie, who she's Miss Julie on Tumblr. She will come in and comment on my stuff from time to time. And I was at work with her, and it was really kind of cool because we were sitting there and talking, and it was, one of those friendship talks where you don't know the other person, but you sit down, you start talking, and you just click. You're like, oh my God, we're soul friends. And oh, hey, Miss Julie's here. Hi, Miss Julie. So anyway, yeah, so we're talking, and at the end of the night, after we've, been dumping all of our personal stories out on one another, she goes, hey, do you have a Tumblr? And then I'm like, oh yeah. Mind you, I just started this job, and I was determined not to let anybody know, because I was for sure I was so certain I was going to get fired, right? They would find a reason to fire me because I was the weird, mentally unwell person. So yeah, so I was like, yeah, no, I've got a Tumblr here. And then as I showed her my phone, I was just like, oh no. So I was just like, oh my God, okay, so I have this thing, I have a YouTube channel, and you can watch it, it helps explain, but please don't tell anybody. Actually, please just don't ever bring this up again. And Julie was like, you know what, I'll probably just forget all about this. Obviously she didn't, because that's not something you forget, really. But she was amazing about it. She immediately, she went and watched our videos, and she read through our blog, and she was like, I want to get to know everybody, I want to be supportive as I can, so she was really eager to meet everyone and get to know everyone, but at the same time she was very hesitant, because she didn't want to just jump in and be like, ha, here I am, talk to me. You know, she wanted to be like really respectful of boundaries. And so, you know, we found her right before me's birthday. And so even though she hadn't met me, she bought her a Moana necklace because she was like, well, birthdays were so important to me, and this is the only birthday she's ever had, so she needs to have a present from a friend. And I like cried. But she's been amazing. And then my other coworkers, I wasn't going to tell. Again, I was like, okay, Julie knows. Julie is great about this. She's probably the exception. I need to not. You know, my therapist was like, you probably should not tell your coworkers because you don't want to make them uncomfortable. Like, it's okay that you're happy with yourself, but they may not understand, and they may suddenly have a lot dropped on their lap, you know, that they're not ready to deal with in a retail, you know, area, right? So I was going to keep it low key. Kit didn't want to do that. She went up and she was just talking to like our coworkers like, oh man, did you hear I have this YouTube channel? It's doing really well. You should check it out. It's called The Entropy System. And I'm just like, oh my God, Kit. And so it got around to a couple of coworkers, and some of them are cool about it. Some of them very clearly want me to never bring it up again, and I won't, you know, I respect that. And then there's my boss, who, she's a very perceptive person. So I had a good feeling that she'd already figured out something was weird. But then, one day, Daniel was at work, and he made a comment of like, oh, well, yeah, I'm worth 10 different, or, you know, I'm the same value as 10 employees. Being, you know, making an inside joke to himself, because he does that. He likes to giggle at his own jokes. Nobody was supposed to get this joke. It was totally innocent. But my boss goes, yeah, well, in your head. Well, yeah, that still works. And his face just drops. And he was like, wait a second. And he pulls her aside. He was like, how the hell do you know? And she's like, are you kidding me? I knew before we hired you. I researched all our employees very thoroughly. We were like, then why didn't you say anything? So it's just, that was super funny. And so now we're very out at work with the employees who are comfortable with it. Obviously, you know, around some of the people we're still low key about it. You know, we don't try to hide ourselves anymore, but we're not out there offering information. But it's fun because I'll walk in and, you know, whoever I'm working with will be like, all right, so who's at work today? And they're, you know, very accepting and stuff. So I won the friggin' lottery with the people that I know, like, other than like other people feeling awkward and like, please don't tell me about this. Like, I've never had someone in person come up to me and be like, you're a monster, you're a murderer, nah. And I'm just like, like, people are so supportive. And I'm so happy that I have like come out and decided to love who I am and love all of who I am, all 12 now of who I am, and just own it and not live in like fear or shame. Cause you know, as Leto is constantly telling me, people are so much better than you would think they are. And I'm kind of learning that's true, you know, and I don't know, like, I live in a super conservative state. Like, Nebraska is not like a liberal, loving, friendly state, you know, at least if our, you know, poll, whatever our laws and ballots and whatever say anything. So I don't know how I got so lucky, or if just the world is full of more good people than I give it credit for. But I'm so happy that I own this and that I'm out and that we don't have to feel ashamed or hide or whatever. Yeah. "34 minutes. Wow, it's only been 34 minutes. It feels like I've been on here for a long time. That's what I get for just rambling without a plan." Scrolling back up. Throw out some more questions, yo. Let's see. How do you deal with disorders in school? I mean, the same way I deal with disorders in my whole life. You know, I find ways to cope. I find ways to study that work for me. If I have to miss class, I read the textbook. It's extra work. It's absolutely extra work. If I didn't have a disorder, I feel like I would get through school a lot easier. And there have been some C's that I have cried with joy because I was for sure I was going to fail class. You know, but you figure out how much you can do, and you absolutely do that much. And on days where you're 100%, you give 100%. Like in my case, I will not skip school for any reason unless I literally cannot leave the apartment. Like if I'm just having like an off day, or if I feel like worn down or whatever, I'm just like, I don't want to go to school today. I get up and go to school because the next day I might have had a trauma nightmare and I maybe can't get out of bed, or I'm not safe to drive. And I would rather go to school on a day where I'm tired and frustrated than try to force myself to drive when it's dangerous for me to drive. So, you know, I can't take shortcuts, basically. I can't not study. I can't not, you know, do that with other things. You just push yourself as hard as you can, and that's how I do it. Mm-hmm. Have you drawn anything? I just joined. Oh crap! I never changed the name. Sketch and Chat. Okay. Hold on just a second. Okay, so originally I was gonna draw. I was gonna be like, I'll sketch and draw, and chat with people while I draw, and that'll be like the fun theme of things. And I was trying to draw Kit and Kim Kim, but I was having absolute artist block, and so this is like a rough sketch, and like I'm having trouble getting like proportions and some of the angles right, and I was just getting really frustrated with it. So I was like, blah. But that's gonna be Kim Kim super embarrassed because Kit's giving her a kiss on the cheek. Blah. So yeah, that's why it was a sketch and chat, but it's gonna be tea and chat from now on because I made tea. I do see some questions asking me for advice with like specific stuff to their system. And here's the thing on that. So I am not a professional. I am honored that you guys think that I know enough that I'd be able to help with stuff like that. But because I don't know your whole situation, and I don't not only would it be irresponsible of me to try to step in and be a therapist for people, but it'd be dangerous, you know, because if I only have like a picture this big and the actual picture is this big, I don't have all these other details. So whatever I give could very easily be something that, you know, that would put you into danger or inhibit you or hurt you more. So for that reason, I've stopped being an advice blog on Tumblr, and just kind of I keep it fun and educational, and I don't do advice there, and I'm not going to answer specific system advice here. Just I feel like it would just be there's too much chance for harm. And so, yeah. Chuggly11, do you feel okay with people watching your channel and asking questions if they themselves do not have DID or know any system that has DID? Yeah, absolutely. You know, my channel has two goals, sorry. One is to educate people about DID. That's first and foremost. It's to break stigma that surrounds DID. Two is to offer, you know, kind of be a source where other systems can look at me and be like, oh my God, I'm not alone. But all my stuff is geared towards explaining things that people who aren't familiar with DID perhaps have never heard of or don't understand. So I love that people who don't have DID are watching my channel. And I feel like if people who, if that kind of audience wasn't watching my channel, I'd probably be doing something wrong, because that's the primary audience. Let's see. Tell us about your tattoo. Okay. So this, forgive me, this was the first and only tattoo that I've ever done. I did not research an artist. I was in the Army, and I knew I needed this tattoo, and so I just went out and got it, and I really need to get it touched up / redone, because I don't like it. It's not great, but the meaning is important, so I'm super glad I have it. So the years up top is 1990 to 2010. It says we're all mad here, and it's the Cheshire Cat. So my friend Kelsey was my absolute best friend in the world growing up, and she had epilepsy. And so in 2010, she had a fit in her sleep and rolled over in her pillow and never woke up. And that was such a crushing blow to me. And, you know, she had been my friend for as long as I could remember. And she stayed at my house. Like, she basically lived at my house. You know, she stayed with us every Friday and Saturday night. And we walked to school together every day. You know, and she was my everything. And she was Kim's everything, too. So, yeah, it was really hard for Kim when she came out and she realized that Kelsey was gone. And so together, you know, with her and me being tied to her, I re-experienced all the sorrow and mourning of losing her again. And Kim still struggles with it. You know, it's very sad. But, you know, I have this, and she loved Cheshire Cat. We've got the Cheshire Cat, she's got the Cheshire Cat, the Disney version, on her tombstone. Like, that's how much she loves Cheshire Cat. And then for as long as I'd known her, she had this like stuffed frog. And when she passed away, you know, the guy she was living with, you know, called all of us over and was like, hey, you guys have been her friends forever. You know, I want to give you guys each something to remember her by. And so I got to take the frog. And so that's sitting with the rest of my stuffies in my bedroom on a little shelf. But yeah, so that's my tattoo, and I didn't mean to be a downer. It's just I love Kelsey very much, and she will always be in my heart and on my shoulder. And one of these days I will get that touched up so I have a tattoo worthy of her. And right now I just have scribble. So. And Miss Julie is texting me. She knows I'm in a live stream. I'm calling her out because I know she's watching right now, but I keep having like her text messages come up on the screen. People have been asking me about DID since the piece I wrote. They get that dissociation creates alters, but not why it's a part of switching. How would you explain that? I don't understand that question. I'm very sorry. You were in the Army. Yeah, I was in the Army. That's a question I can answer. Okay, so have I talked about this on this channel yet? I feel like I rant about this all the time. I joined the Army to get away from bad people in the Army. Which seems counterproductive, but I was hoping that I'd get stationed somewhere else. So I joined the Army in 2011. And the job that I took was Patriot missile operator, which sounds super cool, except we haven't used the Patriot system since Desert Storm. And there's already a new anti-missile system that is active and deploys. So the Patriot missile system is not used anymore. And the people in that job are people who fail out of other jobs. So literally, I'm not exaggerating, 50% of my training class for this missile system were sent there because they failed out of other schools in the military. It was humiliating. It was the worst job ever. I was surrounded by idiots all the time. Like, some of them were good people. Like, I'm not going to just broadly be like, they all sucked, but so many of them sucked. Like, I was going to go to college anyway, but the main reason I went to school immediately after I got out of college is because I was like, I am not going to become these people, because I had like sergeants who were above me who had never gotten past high school. And I was like, there was one conversation that will just baffle me until the day I die, where the sergeant was like, we got to keep our guns because the government's going to kick down our doors. And I was like, oh my God, you're in the Army. Who do you think is going to be kicking down doors, you it was just like the stupidity of this human being. Anyway, so that's also where I met Andrew. And it was fun because he's EOD. He's bomb disposal. That is one of the most difficult jobs in the military. You have to be a smart dude to get EOD. And so one of the guys I met in training had failed out of EOD school. So then when I got stationed at my permanent place, I was like, I don't know anybody there. And this guy I was dating was like, oh, I know someone. You can hang out with him. His name's Andrew. I was like, okay, cool. And I met Andrew and we were instantly best friends and we hung out every single day. And then the guy I was dating decided to be a douchebag. And so I broke up with him and then me and Andrew got together. And so that came out of the military and that was really great. And Andrew helped me recover from the bad people who I was trying to get away from. Didn't get away from right away. Still a lot of bad people followed me in the military. And that's why I got out, because they messed up my head so much that I have 70% disability with PTSD and I never got deployed. Hey, go military. But honestly, it's when it comes to a lot of things, the military is a joke. And I know I'm going to make a lot of people mad. There are some amazing people in the military. There are some heroes, and that's not an exaggeration, but just there's so much badness. There's so much badness. When I left, when I left my station, when I got out and came back home, I saw in the news a week later that a couple of sergeants had gotten arrested because they were trafficking privates. They were trafficking privates in their unit. And I'm just like, that I wasn't surprised one bit. I was like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I hate everything. So am I glad I went into the military? Yes, because disability helps me live. It paid for school, which I probably wouldn't have been able to pay for otherwise. And I met my husband, who's the most amazing human being on the face of the earth. So I'm glad that I went. And it got me away from the bad people eventually. I probably would never escape them if it wasn't for the Army. So thank you, Army, for that. But you could not pay. You could give me every gem and precious metal and dollar bill on the planet, and that would still not be enough to make me decide to go back to the Army for one day. Just like, gross. Miss Julie says, I saw a joke about trusting an E3 and below with thousands of dollars in military equipment, but don't trust them with a toaster in their dorms. Yeah, that's also true. Are we going to be introduced to your new altars? I'm curious, but of course respect your privacy. I have kind of developed a plan if Dr. Mann keeps doing her thing, where I'm going to like write her a note and be like, Dr. Mann, I'm doing this thing, this educational presentation, and I wonder if you do an interview for me. So I might be able to get her to do a video, but Todd, no, he is under 10, so he qualifies as a little, and thanks to some really gross people, we don't have littles on our channel anymore. I will probably do a video, like a Hello Todd video of just me talking about him, but he will not be online. How do you remind yourself to stay positive? I kind of, I don't know. There's some days where I just can't. Um, having a support system, I think, is the most important thing there. Because I do try to keep myself positive. I have a list of things that I appreciate about myself. Every time I have a bad day, I'm like, yeah, but it's been so many days since my last bad day. They used to be so much more frequent, and every teeny tiny thing that I can point to and say, hey, look, I'm improving, that helps me a lot. But there are some days where I just hate myself and I hate everything and I don't know what to do. And so I talk to the people I love. I talk to my husband or I message my friends, and I'm receptive to their comfort, which is important because I know there are some people who, and I kind of used to be like this too, is, they'll be like, oh, my life sucks. And a friend will be like, no, you're so important to me. And they're like, no, my life sucks. It's like, if you want someone to help you feel better, you need to let them help you feel better. just telling them that they're wrong and go away is going to make them want to go away. So, I take their comfort. And even if I don't feel better in the moment, I appreciate that there are people who care about me enough to want to comfort me, and eventually I feel better. So yeah. Is Dr. Mann new or is she resurfaced? She's new. She is brand new. She has never existed before. She is 1 month-ish old. Yeah. She's the only adult made altar I've had other than Leto. Everyone else has been around since I was a kid. See, I'm probably going to only do 10 more minutes. I feel like an hour is a nice round amount of time. Or I guess 8 more minutes. It says started streaming 52 minutes ago. How do systems name themselves? Did you all decide, or one person or something else? System names are such a funny thing. Like I only named my system because I saw everybody else had named their system on Tumblr, and I was like, well, I want a name too. So it was definitely a bandwagon moment. And I just I didn't really know what to do. Like I was like, the puzzle piece system. No, that doesn't mean anything to me. Then I was sitting in chemistry class. We were talking about entropy. He's like, yeah, so if you disturb something, it randomizes. And I was like, oh my God, just like me. So that's why I'm the entropy system. And I thought that was fun and clever. But yeah, basically from what I've talked to with other systems, you just name, you give yourself a name for the sake of social media. And it's a lot easier, to find other systems and connect with other systems when they're, like their blog name or whatever is a system name. So yeah, it's just find a cute nickname for yourself. And that's, someone says, we're the puzzle system. Yeah, that's awesome. Like, it probably has like an actual meaning for you. Me, I was just like throwing words out, Let's see. What's the Spartan helmet for? Oh, okay. I'm going to take you guys on a quick tour. All right. Oh, goodness. Standing. My apartment's a mess. I'm so sorry. But we're going to take a look. So me and my husband are world travelers, and we got a bunch of cool things. So this and this and this are from our trip to Greece. Also these. We got those when we were in Greece. And this and this is actual ancient Greek pottery. How freaking cool is that? There's a website called liveauctions.com. And basically, like, there's this group. Like, if you look, there'll be, like, museums that are just selling extra stuff. Or like estate sales where they're, like, these really rich collectors and whatever. And you can get ancient stuff for really super cheap. So since this stuff doesn't actually have like any paintings or anything on it, I think we got this whole set for like $15. These are thousands of years old. That's what? And then of course, you guys, if you've seen the Nevada trip, you know about my little ram who still does not have a name. I couldn't think of anything perfect enough, but he's up here These little things are ancient, are arrowheads, actual Greek arrowheads. So that's super cool. Let's see. Oh, and then we're going to come over here to our Egypt stuff. And also my Black Panther doll, because why not? But, oh gosh, my apartment's so messy. So these 3 statues we got in Egypt, as well as this. This is an actual papyrus scroll, not an ancient one, obviously, but we went to a shop that made papyrus scrolls, and we got that painted, and we got this one, and that is Andrew's name and my name in hieroglyphs, and that's a marriage portrait, so that's cool. And then these are from Egypt. These are from Egypt. This is my little mummy. I thought that was super heckin' cute. And these aren't like actual like awesome stone statues or whatever. All of these minus the tablet and the papyrus we got off of street vendors, because we knew that they weren't like super high quality things, but A, we could get more stuff for less expensive, and we knew what we were getting. And 2, we felt more like we were giving to the economy by buying from street vendors rather than buying from big companies. And the last thing I'm going to show you guys is going back to that live auctions website. Andrew got me the coolest gift ever. So these, oh, there's one more piece. These are pieces that I keep on my altar. These are little fetishes from ancient Egypt. They are roughly 3,000 years old. And this one is my most precious because that's the knot of Isis. That's the goddess Isis's symbol. And then that's a little Horus, and that's an eye of Horus, and that's a chunk of a ring. It's just a broken chunk of a ring, but it's still super cool. But since I honor the gods of Egypt, these stay on my altar. I'm going to put those back. And then also on my altar from Egypt, this piece of granite is from the Temple of Philae, or the island that the Temple of Philae is on. Temple of Philae is the Temple of Isis. And this is a rock that I got outside of, I was up on the sandhill watching the sunset over the pyramids, and I saw this rock, and it's kind of faded, but it looked like there was a little like skull face on here. And I honor Isis and Osiris, and so I felt like this was a little gift that Osiris had sent me while I sat and watched the pyramids and the sunset. So that's my stuff. I know it has absolutely nothing to do with DID or anything, but I wanted the chance to show off my things because I love them. They're exciting, and I never have guests come over, so I don't get to show them off to people very often. And now I've showed them off to the world. Anyway, have I ever been to England? No, not yet, but I absolutely want to. There are still a lot of places that I need to go. We're going to go to Japan next. So next summer, we're saving up now. Next summer, we're going to go to Japan. Someone says, oh, explain fetishes. Fetishes are just, it's a name for little, like little carved figures. That's what the word fetish means. It also, has the other meaning, but we're not talking about that on this channel. Ha ha ha. Can you show more stuff? I mean, I don't have more travel stuff. I have a bunch of anime stuff, but that's for a different video. Maybe next time, kids. All right, it's been about an hour. I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you for joining me for my tea and chat. I'm gonna change that title from sketch and chat to tea and chat. Hopefully we can do this again. Maybe next time I'll schedule, maybe next time I won't. Maybe it'll be a fun surprise for anyone who happens to be on YouTube next time. But yeah, let me know your opinions on that in the future. If you want to comment on here and be like, yeah, I think it's fun to have little surprises every now and again. We'll obviously at their major, like our big, like scheduled 2-hour live streams, we'll obviously tell everybody about that. But this is just a fun little extra bit so you can get to know us if you want to. So anyway,
I hope you all have a very, very good day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.